Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Vinyl Den, your channel for record collecting by record collectors. I'm Nick. It's Tuesday, time to talk about some new releases coming out this Friday, April 25th. There's a little over 400 albums coming out this week. I got 10 on my list for today. There's a bunch of links down below. You got links for the Vinyl Den Facebook group, for the merch page, for the Spotify and Apple Music playlist that I put together every week, and the Patreon page. So make sure you check all that out. Like always, if you enjoyed the episode, make sure you give me a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button down below, and make sure you hit that notification bell so you're notified every time I release new episodes. Like I said in the intro, there's a little over 400 albums coming out this week, but I'm only have 10 of them on the show today. So if there's something you're looking forward to I don't have on here, make sure you drop me a comment down below. Let me know what you're looking forward to grabbing. And like always, if you're unable to find these in your local brick and mortar stores, they should all be available online. I'll put links down below in the comments section for them. You can also always go over to the Vinyl Den store on Amazon. All the pre-orders are on there, new releases, there's deals on records, all sorts of cool stuff to check out. The first album I got on my list for this week is one I've been excited for ever since it was first announced. That's the new album from Ghost, Skeleta. It's their sixth studio album. It's running about $26. In typical Ghost fashion, there's a bunch of different variants of this one. There's at least 10 to 12 different variants I've seen out there. I know they're the indie exclusive, I think, is on Violet vinyl. There's a Target exclusive that's on purple vinyl. Also comes with a slip mat. I'm not really sure which copy I'm going to grab yet. But this is a follow-up to Imperial, which came out back in 2022. And then they also released Phantom Mime in 2023, which is just an EP. But Imperial was the album I really got into Ghost with. Before that album came out, I had multiple people telling me, hey, you got to check this band out. You got to check this band out. And for one reason or another, I never really gave them much of a shot. And then Imperial came out. It was probably like a week or two after Imperial came out when I finally sat down and listened to this album. And ever since then, I've been hooked. Ghost is one of those bands I don't think has released a bad album yet. And the last couple of albums all charted well. Phantom Mime was just an EP, but it hit number 7 on the Billboard 200. Imperial hit number 2. I'm sure this one is going to be equally as good. They've already released 2 singles off of the new album. I think Satanized was the lead single. It's the only one I've listened to so far. It's another really good Ghost song. I'm expecting this album to be equally as good as their last couple of albums. And it's one that I expect to be in my top 20, somewhere in my top 20 at the end of the year. But from what I've read, the new album is supposed to be more introspective than any of the previous Ghost albums. Like I said, one I'm definitely looking forward to. I'm definitely going to grab a copy of that this Friday. You've also got Sex Pistols live in the U.S.A. 1978 coming out. So this is the third and final release from the series that they've been doing over the last couple of months. It's going to be on blue vinyl. It's going to run about $30. So this show was recorded on January 14, 1978 at the Winterland Ballroom in San Francisco. This was the finale of a disastrous U.S. tour. The very last song they did on this show was a covered No Fun by the Stooges, and it was actually after that song where Johnny Rotten very famously said, ha ha ha, do you ever get the feeling you've been cheated? And that was kind of the end of the Sex Pistols. I think it was just a couple of days later, it'd be announced that the band broke up. So what you're hearing in this performance is literally the very last days of the band. They previously released both the Atlanta and Dallas shows over the last couple of months. So like I said, this is the third and final one. This is also going to be available as a 3 CD box set of all 3 performances. If you want to grab that, it's going to be, I think it's like $30 or $32 if you want to get all 3 of them, or $100 if you want to grab all of it on vinyl. There's also the new album from Billy Idol coming out this week. This is Dream Into It. It's his 9th studio album. It looks like there's 2 different versions of this. There's a black version. There's also a purple version that's going to be available. It's going to be about $24. This is his first full album in 11 years. I think he's released a couple of EPs since then, but Kings and Queens of the Underground, which came out in 2014, was his last full album. The new album is supposed to be like this journey through Billy Idol's music career. Sounds really interesting. I know Joan Jett makes an appearance on here. Avril Lavigne's on here also. Steve Stevens is once again back. He's been his longtime guitarist and collaborator, once again back on this album. And something I didn't realize until not that long ago is Steve Stevens actually did the guitar solo on the Top Gun theme song, which I think is kind of cool. But, I've always been a big fan of Billy Idol. It's definitely an album I'll stream and check out this week. You also got a new album from Willie Nelson coming out, Oh What a Beautiful World. It's his 77th studio album, which is just absolutely insane, and his 154th album overall. It's going to run about $27. There's a black version of this. There's also a clear version. So this new album really focuses on the work of singer-songwriter Rodney Crowell. I know Willie's recorded several of his songs over the last 40 plus years, but he's never done an entire album dedicated to his songs. So all 12 of the songs on this album were all written by Rodney. Rodney has worked with a bunch of artists over the years. I'm sure most people out there have heard his songs and probably didn't know that he was the one that wrote them, but This entire album sounds really interesting. It's one, I probably don't need to have it on vinyl, but I'll definitely stream it and check it out this week. But Rodney does make an appearance on the title track also. There is a great jazz album that's getting released this week. This is Kenny Burrell with Art Blakey on view at the 5-Spot Café. It was released back in 1959 as part of the Blue Note Tone Poet series. These are all mastered by Kevin Gray. They're all pressed to RTI. They always sound great. So this is a little bit different of a standard Tone Poet release. Those are typically just one LP. This is an expanded edition that they're doing of this. It's going to be on 3 LPs. It's going to run you a little bit more. It's going to be about $73. This was all recorded at the 5-Spot Cafe in August of 1959 in New York City. And what you're getting in this expanded edition are 6 additional unreleased tracks. There's also a Never Before Seen photos. There's an interview with Kenny Burrell in the notes also. And Kenny's guitar solo in Loverman has been called one of the greatest, if not the greatest, jazz guitar solo ever recorded. He's got some great musicians on here also. Like I said, this is with Art Blakey. But besides Art, you got Bobby Timmons, there's Tina Brooks, there's Ben Tucker on here also. If you're a jazz fan, this is definitely one to check out. $73 is a lot to spend on this, but if I can grab this on sale somewhere, I'll definitely try to get a copy of it. And then this next one is on here because I'm surprised that there's a big anniversary release of this album coming out, because I swear this is probably one of the most popular dollar bin albums that I've seen over the last few years. But this is Herb Alpert, Whipped Cream and Other Delights. So this came out back in 1965. It was their 4th studio album. This is a 60th anniversary picture disc. It's going to run about $30. Of course, everyone knows this album cover. The one thing that I didn't realize is this was the highest selling album in 1966. Herb outsold the Beatles and the Rolling Stones that year. And this is one of those albums where I'm pretty sure I've never listened to anything more than one song on here. A Taste of Honey is the only song I know off of it, but I know this is a hugely popular album. And, the picture disc, it's a picture disc. I'm sure it's not going to sound great, but picture discs have been getting better over the last several years. So I'm interested to see what the sound quality on this one's going to be. This is all newly remastered. Something a lot of people out there might not know about Herb is back in 1962, he teamed up with Jerry Moss and created a record label named A&M. Yes, the A is Alpert, the M is Moss. Went on to be one of the biggest record labels of its time. I think Herb owned A&M Records all the way up until he sold it to Polygram in 1989. You've also got Train's self-titled debut album getting released on vinyl this week. This came out back in 1998. It's going to run you about $22. I was surprised to see this one's never been available on vinyl. This album was first released independently back in 1996, had a completely different track listing, and then in 98, Aware and Columbia would reissue it. It had some moderate success with the single Meet Virginia. I think it hit number 20 on the Billboard Hot 100. Got pretty significant radio airplay, at least here in the Midwest. I think it was really the strength of that single that really pushed this album up. It would hit number 76 on the Billboard 200. The album would eventually go platinum. It's one I haven't listened to in a really long time, though, so I definitely need to go back through and stream that one this week. You've also got Simple Minds Live in the City of Diamonds coming out. So this is a live album from their 2024 performance in Amsterdam. It's on 2 LPs. It's going to run you about $35. There's a black version. I think there's also a clear version of this one. I know Simple Minds is widely known for their song Don't You Forget About Me from the Breakfast Club, but they're a band that's been pretty consistent and pretty prolific over their career. They've released 19 studio albums since 1979. And this live performance was 18 tracks from across their 45 plus year career. I think really for the last, decade plus, Jim Kerr and Charlie Burchill, I think were the only 2 original members from the band. They're one of those bands, I think if that's all you know is just that one song, their band definitely go back through and check out the rest of their catalog, because they've got some other really good tracks and some really good albums across their career. The next album's kind of interesting because it caused some controversy when it was released. This is Imagine Dragons, Reflections from the Vault of Smoke and Mirrors. So this came out digitally back in February. It's going to be on Ocean Blue vinyl. It's going to run you about $33. It's being released in celebration of the 10-year anniversary of the album Smoke and Mirrors. This album contains 14 previously unreleased demos, and that's where the controversy comes from, because when this album came out, people started digging through these demos and realized that they're not really all from the Smoke and Mirrors recording sessions. Some of these date back to 2008 or 2009. There's some of them they're from 2020 or 2021. So some fans were a little angry that the band wasn't completely honest and upfront with what they were releasing. Look, if you want to release an anniversary edition of an album, just release it and include what you have. If you only have 3 or 4 demos from those sessions, just include that. Don't lie and make it seem like you're releasing something different. But I've never been a big fan of the band. I think I only know just a couple of hits that they've had. I don't think I've listened to this album at all or know anything off it. So it's one I'll definitely add to my list to stream and check out this week. And then the last album I got on my list this week is Lil Peep, California Girl. So this came out back in 2016. It was an EP that he would self-release. It would be reissued in 2021. It's going to run you about $28. It's going to be on electric blue, sky blue, and light yellow vinyl. This is a very catchy emo rap album. I think it's also listed as like alternative rap, which whatever that is, but this is a 6-track EP that he released about a year and 10 months before his death in November of 2017. This EP was completely made over email with his producer before they'd even met in person. This also has Beamer Boy, which I think is his best known or one of his best known songs. This was never available on vinyl until February. It looks like it's getting a wider release this week. You know, it's a good one to check out if you're unfamiliar with it. If you've never listened to any of his music, he did release one full-length studio album before his death. He had like a whole series of EPs he released also. There's lots of really good stuff to check out from him. Well, that's all I got for you today, guys. Thanks for checking the show out. Make sure you drop me a comment down below. Let me know what you're looking forward to grabbing this week. Like I said, I'm definitely going to get that Ghost album. I haven't pre-ordered it yet, though. There's like 75,000 different copies of it or variants of it out there, so it should be easy one to grab. I'll probably grab the Sex Pistols on CD because $30 for all three of them is a lot cheaper than spending $100 for all three of them on vinyl. I might grab that new Billy Idol album also, but I'll stream that one first. I might grab that Kenny Burrell if I can grab that on sale somewhere, but I don't know. Let me know what you guys are looking forward to. Like always, if you enjoyed the episode, make sure you give me a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button down below. That's all I got. Until next time, keep on spinning. Peace.